Good morning and welcome to Revamp Your Business with Social Media and Email Marketing, preparing for the next normal. My name is Michael Pila. I am the founder and creative director of Pila Creative Marketing. We do all things digital, branding, website development, social and email marketing. I also consider myself a creative evangelist. A lot of companies come at this from the angle of business, technology, and strategy. But I think content is what really makes the world go round. So that's where I've decided to focus my efforts. My approach can be summed up in 2 words: micro celebrity. The idea is to make you famous with a small, dedicated group of people. It's basically to find a niche audience that shares your values and values your work. And once you've won these people over, you pretty much have clients for a long time, if not for life. Just a quick rundown of our agenda. I like to start with a few words of wisdom, a couple of quotes that have sort of guided me through my digital marketing journey. I'm going to tell you what I mean by the next normal. I'm going to get into content ideas for this difficult time we live in. Then there's some strategies for distributing that content. I will sum up, and finally questions. Obviously, you cannot give me questions live. If you can, it's a pretty neat trick. But what I would recommend you do is email me with any questions or comments you might have. I will do the best I can to help you. So our first quote is from a gentleman named Sinek. He's famous for giving TED Talks. He is basically a rather deep thinker about the times we live in. And he basically coined the phrase, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And the whole point of a successful business is finding your why. And your why goes beyond just whatever, widgets or gadgets or services you may be providing. Your why is the overarching reason you're in business. The obvious example is Apple Computer. Even though they sell computers, you will never see bits, bytes, or megahertz in an Apple ad. They just don't talk about the hardware. They basically talk about what you can do with technology. And that's their mission. Their mission is to change the world, change people's lives through not only the application of technology, but making that technology available. The second quote I like to get into is from a gentleman named Seth Godin. Seth is a well-known writer on marketing. He's an author, speaker, and actually has his own MBA program. So this, I think, is the most insightful comment about marketing in general today, and digital marketing in particular, that I've ever read. And I remind myself about this every day. Marketing used to be about the things you make. Now it's about the stories you tell. And especially today, when people may not be in the mood to hear a sales pitch, I think, relating stories about your business and how you help people and what you're doing to cope with the situation and how you're there for them and so on and so forth, I think that's probably a lot more effective in gaining trust and building long-lasting relationships. So just a few words about the media we'll be addressing. Email marketing is the #1 app on smartphones. All those people you see on their phones are more likely than not checking their email. So, you're sort of always present if you're addressing them with email. I know every other year somebody writes an article about how email is dead. And I think email people don't want is dead. But I think emails that people are interested in are alive and well. So again, it all comes down to picking the right target market and coming up with content that appeals to that market. As far as social media goes, social media is still the #1 online activity, with about half the planet on some sort of social media platform at any given time. So between these 2 media, you have a very, very powerful way of growing your business and reaching a target audience. So what do I mean by the next normal? Well, new normal to me implies that we're going to go back to something that is basically familiar. We talk about new clothes, new houses, new cars. Those are still houses, clothes, and cars. They really don't change radically. I think we are looking at some radical changes once the dust settles. And I think that's what you need to get ready for. It's not going to be enough to be ready for when things go back the way they were, because they won't be the way they were. I think some things are going to go away. There'll be new opportunities and new adventures waiting for us. And some things will remain, but in an altered state. So given together, I think we need to look at this a little bit more broadly than just a new normal, where I think we need to think of this as going into a next phase of, whatever this is. So there have been some dramatic shifts in consumer attitudes. People are focusing on essential items rather than luxury goods. People are obviously on digital more than they've ever been. Loyalty may have gone out the window. Health and caring, not only as industries, but health and caring as to how do businesses treat their customers. If you have a brick and mortar business, are you set up in such a way that your customers can be comfortable entering your establishment? And finally, people are just home a lot more, and that creates its own problems and opportunities. So to basically put some numbers to these events, people are rethinking buying, again, non-essential items. So purchases of non-essential items are down 30 to 40%. Online shopping is up 15 to 40%, depending on category. 75% of Americans say they've tried new brands, places, or ways of shopping. So people are they're out there searching. They're unsettled, and they're looking for answers. Basically, the consumers are looking for masks and physical barriers when deciding where to shop. So they're looking to shop at places that have taken precautions and are not just sort of winging it. They're looking to shop at places that make them feel safe. And finally, 70% of Americans have not resumed normal. What the hell is normal, right? Who knows what normal is anymore? But people have not resumed normal activity and are pretty much adapting to ways of doing whatever they can at home. So these numbers are from McKinsey. This is from a survey that was taken at the beginning of August of this year. So these numbers are pretty fresh, pretty accurate. Content. So given the situation, what sort of content should you be creating? The first thing to keep in mind is that your clients love you. As a small business, you deal with your clients on an everyday basis. So you know them very well. They know you very well. If they didn't like you, they basically wouldn't be doing business with you. So you've already established a level of trust with your clients. So what's their state of mind? Again, they're concerned about health, obviously. They're bored and frustrated. They're cooped up. And, even when they're not working, or when they finally stop working, they're always looking for some sort of distraction, whether they're working from home or not. Just the sort of the limited nature of existence is wearing on people's nerves. What can you do? How can you sort of help them get through the situation? Obviously, I think the first step is to acknowledge the situation. Let's not pretend that everything is ducky. Things are not ducky. We're a long way from ducky. So I think what we need to do is acknowledge the situation and sort of face how we're going to deal with this. You want to give them assurances in whatever capacity you can. You're there to help them. You're going to provide them with relevant, accurate information so that they can cope with this thing on their own. It would help if you could create special offers or services that, again, can help them cope. I would get into cause marketing, and I would look into raising money or making donations. And not to pat yourself on the back, but again, to let your clients know that you're involved in dealing with this situation on a very personal level, so that you're not just a vendor, you're in this with them. So let's look at some content ideas. First and foremost, people are working from home. Maybe they never worked from home before. So here they are, they need lots of basically help. They need information on ergonomics, how to set up a home office, what applications, what computer to buy. Time management becomes a huge issue, as does simple things as games to play between tasks, and maybe just healthy snacks so that they're not constantly eating potato chips or what have you. The post you see here, this is a LinkedIn post. It links to an article I wrote. I've been working from home for many years. So I wrote a couple of articles about giving people tips about how to work from home. And this is Home Sweet Office was the name of this. And it's tips on staying productive and healthy. My first tip basically was to get dressed. And this is before Zoom became as popular as it is now. But the whole idea of spending the day in your pajamas, I don't think you can be productive spending the entire day in your pajamas. Maybe in spurts, but I think after a while, the pajama mentality takes over. The second tip, and this is basically leaning into an old cliche about, these sort of remote appearances, is wear pants. It's hard to, you want to keep focused. It's hard to keep focused if you're only half dressed. Believe me, I've tried it. I used to work with a guy who, and this was years before working at home became popular. He worked from home, but he would get dressed every day as though he were going to the office. So he would put on a shirt and a tie and a jacket and the whole 9 yards. Because in his mind, he was going to work. Didn't matter where he worked. He needed to dress for work. The advantage there was also if he got called away to the office, he didn't have to, for a meeting or something, he didn't have to scramble to get dressed. But I think there's something to be said for maintaining a work mindset, even though you're at home, and also creating a boundary between your work at home and your life at home. Because if it all starts to blur, you're really going to go, frankly, a little crazy. Health is huge, but not only just health as regard to the virus itself, but just your general health, your diet, exercise, how to deal with stress and isolation. I'm sure there are couples that are really getting on each other's nerves. So these are all areas where, depending on your business, your area of expertise, that you could basically help people. And even if it's beyond your expertise, there's nothing to say you couldn't interview someone who can provide information in this area. Use that information as content. Use that interview as content on your platforms. Education is huge, especially with schools opening up in a few weeks. People have been homeschooling for the first time, so they need resources. They're looking for information on school openings. But beyond that, you can do something like this. You can do a webinar. You can do a workshop on your area of expertise. You can basically educate your customers, your clients, or the world in general about what you do and how you do it. This is a post from a company that provides resources and equipment for homeschooling. And it's something that people never thought of before, but it suddenly is very much top of mind. Finances are huge. Many people are out of work. They're having trouble with their credit. They need help with their credit, maybe for the first time. On the flip side, home sales are going through the roof, I understand, especially in the suburbs. So if you've got a home, you may be looking to buy a home. You may be looking to sell a home. But these are all, well, again, very, very rich areas of content. And finally, entertainment. Entertainment is not to be taken lightly. People are looking for distractions, number one, but the whole entertainment industry has been hit very, very hard with this. Theaters are closed, movies are closed, concerts have been canceled. This is a post here from Luna Stage. This is a local community theater, and it's basically promoting virtual concerts that some artists are sort of banding together, and again, via Zoom or some other remote platform, are giving concerts. But beyond that, there's, again, whatever business they're in, you can suggest videos, you can create your own content. Create some sort of an entertainment event. It could be a reading, could be a short play. Maybe there's actors in your area. You would like to give them a shot at reaching a new audience. Basically, the whole entertainment of the entire area of entertainment, oddly enough, is suddenly wide open. Basically because of Zoom and the situation we're in. And then finally, how is your company adapting? Companies have had to make changes. Again, we just talked about virtual plays by theater companies. I understand Ben Brantley, who's the #1 theater reviewer from the New York Times, is now reviewing virtual theater productions. So basically, he, like everyone else, he gets on Zoom, watches the play or whatever the piece is, and will write a review as though it were a live play, because there are no live plays. They're just remote plays. But it's interesting that they've risen to the level of deserving a New York Times review. Again, workshops like this in your area of expertise is another way you can adapt and reach a new audience. So I have a couple of clients here that are, taking advantage of the situation. One is a summer camp called Girls Quest. They created a virtual version of their camp called uh, Camping at Home, Camp Quest at Home, excuse me. Right, so they've created a virtual version of their summer camp called Camp Quest at Home. And what they're doing is the kids get on Zoom. They've all been mailed a box of supplies, either a book or arts and crafts or whatever. And they're holding regular camp sessions, but they're remote. But again, it's keeping the camp community alive and keeping the idea of the camp alive. Another one of my clients has set up a virtual kitchen. So it's a restaurant that doesn't really have a physical space, so to speak. They are using a kitchen of another restaurant, but there's no place to go in and sit and eat. It's either for delivery or pickup within your local area. And then finally, there's this dry cleaning service, contactless dry cleaning, where they'll basically pick up and deliver your dry cleaning. Go to your house, pick up a box of clothes or bag of clothes or whatever, do the dry cleaning, and then return it to your home. They'll do this without, so it's contact, and also the method they use for dry cleaning is environmentally friendly. And ironically enough, they have been in business for years. It just so happens that right now is the perfect time for this sort of business. So there's some, again, ways. I don't want to use the word take advantage because, again, this is a very tragic situation we're in. But there are ways your business can adapt to keep moving during these difficult times. And think about, how is your company? I would really like to hear from people how their company has made changes in order to keep on going in this certain situation. So please email me with your suggestions or with what you've come up with, and maybe that'll be the subject of another webinar, or maybe an article on my blog. We'll see. But anyway, I would really love to hear how you are coping with the situation. Just a little bit about how to manage your content. I always recommend we do a content calendar, plot your content out an entire month ahead of time. There are tools you can use basically to pre-schedule or to schedule your social media content ahead of time. Hootsuite is one. HubSpot has another module that'll let you do this. Facebook itself has a scheduling module, so you can schedule your Facebook and I believe your Instagram post ahead of time. So, use these tools so that you're not overwhelmed by the nature of this. And finally, as always, there are three really great sources of content. The original content, obviously, is stuff you made up on your own. Curated content is stuff other people have made up, but you're more or less distributing on their behalf. That is perfectly legal, by the way, as long as you give them credit. It's only a problem if you try to take credit for something you did not create, or if you sell something you did not create, then you've got some issues. And finally, user-generated content is always probably the best kind of content. Is get your users or your visitors to talk to one another. And again, in this situation where people have had to be very inventive, it might be nice to get some, just to hear. It might be nice for you to hear from your audience how they are coping with the pandemic. So now we're going to get into some strategy. Here's the fun stuff. We're going to get into some strategies for getting this stuff out there and connecting with your target audience. The first thing we're going to talk about is a drip campaign. Now, a drip campaign is basically a series of emails that are triggered by events, or in some cases, non-events. Ideally, a drip campaign is automated. So once you set it up, you can basically just sort of let it run. So every time someone takes an action, say they sign up for your newsletter, they sign up for your email, they click a button and ask for more information about your company or your event, that will trigger a series of emails. So this happens without any involvement from you. So again, it's just very, very effective and very efficient. It's great for building relationships. It's very, very good for, again, it's very efficient. It's good for letting clients feel that they're not just a number with you, that they actually have some value as people. And again, it's very good for upselling. If you basically have sold somebody one item or service, it's a great way to basically sell them the next level up or sell them something else. So how does it work? This is a very simple diagram to basically give you some idea of how your basic drip campaign would work. So something triggers an action. Again, they ask for information, they sign up to get on your email list, they buy something, whatever, that triggers the first email. Depending on what the recipient does, that basically follows what path the rest of this takes. If they open the email, they get a second email, and that second email may ask them for more information. It might inquire, might have a special offer, what have you. If they don't respond to the first email, they still get a second email, but it's a little bit different. It's it's a little bit, why haven't we heard from you? That kind of stuff, and so on and so forth. So as you can see here, depending on the action or inaction of the recipient, they'll get another email, which may give them an offer. In some cases, it gives them a better offer. And we've got some examples here to show you how that works. And again, it's finite. It's not that we're going to email people forever, but generally a drip campaign is three to four emails, and that's it, because we don't want to annoy people. But 3 to 4 emails should be enough to let you know where you stand with these particular customers. So here's one for Dollar Shaving Club. So obviously here, re-engagement. So someone was the subscriber. They let their subscription lapse. They said they don't want to renew for whatever reason. So here's a series. The first one is just basically, we missed you. We haven't heard you for a while. Here's a special offer to get you back. The second one, we've said basically, we're more than just razor blades and shaving cream. There are other things you can get from us that we think you might be interested in. And finally, the third one, it says we're not a monthly club anymore. So basically you're encouraging them. They don't necessarily have to subscribe. They don't have to take on the obligation of a monthly service, but they can buy from Dollar Saving Club basically whenever they want. So bingo, Okay, we get to a welcome message. So this is a welcome message for this establishment, the White Flower Farm. The first one is your basic welcome message. Glad you signed up. Nice to hear from you. The second one asks for a little bit more information. Again, you're trying to get to know them a little better. And finally, the third one has a special offer. So you're giving them something in return for their attention. So again, this makes them feel valued. It builds the relationship. It makes them feel like they're more than just a number on your list. And it's all about creating that connection, which will lead to more business down the road. Finally, this is for an event. So the initial one is an email that basically announces the event. The second one is basically, so the first one is a save the date. The second one is an invitation. And basically the third one is the final reminder that, the event is coming, you should get your ticket. So that's sort of, so you're reminding, you're telling them the event is coming up. They didn't buy a ticket. You send them the second one, which is a reminder that the event is coming up. And then finally, the third one is, the event is very, very soon. If you want to go, now's the time to buy a ticket. Maybe that third one contains a special offer or discount. But again, it's a sort of an online conversation you're having with your prospects. Okay, the next technique I'd like to talk about is Facebook lookalike audiences. And this is a very powerful way of combining email marketing or aspects of email marketing with Facebook ads. So a lookalike audience is basically, you're basically creating a content list, or a customer list rather, of clients that resemble the ones you already have. So these are people who are similar to people who are already buying for you, and you're going to reach them via Facebook ads once you get this audience put together. So it's a way of reaching people who are most likely, there's nothing certain here, but they're most likely interested and ready to take action because they resemble people who already have. So how does this look? So the number one way is you basically upload your email list to Facebook. Facebook then looks at that list, sees how many of those people are already members of Facebook. Then it looks for people who have similar or identical profiles to the people already on your email list. So you got your list. They go out and find people who look like the people they're brand new people, but they have similar profiles to the people already on your list, and they will build an audience to that group. So now you don't get their names. You don't know exactly specifically who they are, but what you do have is you know that they share the attributes of people already buying from you. So that's pretty powerful group of people. And you can then basically craft ads to reach those people. The second way to do this is Facebook will give you a pixel that you can embed in your website, and it'll basically collect information from information about people who visit your site, information like what pages they go to, do they fill out a form, what have you. I realize this is sort of a little cloak and dagger, but again, it's very, very effective. It is totally anonymous. You don't know, you don't get names and addresses of who these people are. But again, Facebook will collect information about people who visit your site. And then as with the email list, they'll go to their membership list and harvest profiles that match the people who visited your website. So again, you've got a group of similar people who are probably ready and willing to buy from you. You can get more out of this. You can further refine this process by segmenting the lookalike audience once you get it. So you can basically divide them by, or segment them by demographics, by interest, by behavior, what have you. But according to Facebook, a lookalike audience delivers a 5 times return on investment than a regular audience. So if nothing else, it's something worth looking into, but it's a very, very powerful marketing tool. Email and social media. So using the two of them together, sharing content between your email campaigns and your social media campaigns. I refer to them as the dynamic duo of internet marketing. You repurpose content, so there's some efficiencies there. It can be a great way to grow your list. It certainly increases your reach, and it gives you some shared metrics, which we'll get in at the end of this, but sharing metrics is also a very, very efficient and powerful tool here. Excuse me. When you share your email and your social media platform campaigns or content or whatever, basically you get 73% more customer engagement. You're basically reaching 73% more people. And more than half of them are new customers. And you're also generating more referrals from those new people. So this is a win-win-win in the digital area. So how does this work? Well, all the major email marketing platforms, so that would be Constant Contact, MailChimp, iContact, they all allow for social media email integration. So there's always, and they basically make this as easy as possible. They all have some sort of a module or platform on their site that allow you to take an email. Once you've sent out an email, it'll then allow you to take that content and redistribute it through various social platforms. So in this case, we're schedule a redistribution to Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So this is the, I'm sorry, part of this might be obscured by my pretty face there, but this is the part of this is from Constant Contact. I have a relationship with Constant Contact. If we're going for full disclosure here. I am a certified solutions provider. But regardless of that, any of the other two platforms work just as well. I prefer Constant Contact, but anyway, so basically this is the admin for sharing your information. As you can see, you basically select the platforms you want to use. Those are my platforms. Those are my LinkedIn, Facebook. That's my Facebook business page, and my Twitter account that I'm going to share this information. You set the message, whatever it is. It can be this message. It can be a different message. And I can basically modify it. I'm not just blindly repeating the email. I can basically tweak that message a little bit, and I can select the dates that I want things to go out on. Now, they all don't have to go out on the same date. I can do one a week. I can spread them out by several days, what have you. But again, I've got ultimate flexibility as far as platform, message, and date goes. And this is just an example of one of these campaigns. It's a campaign I did for a local classic film festival. We did basically one movie a week. So each campaign basically ran a week. This was the campaign for Lawrence of Arabia. This was the first time this particular film festival did a targeted, organized digital marketing campaign, and the results were very, very dramatic. They sold out 5 out of 8 performances. They, excuse me again, they made more money, sold more tickets, what have you. So, you know, very simple technique. Just basically reminding people that this film is available, that Momentum wants to be shown, and making it very easy for them to buy tickets. Really, really had some dramatic, it was very, very effective. List building. All right, list building is one of the most important activities you can do as a digital marketer. Or one of the most important activities in digital marketing, period. And the fact that the only 2 things you actually own are your website and your mailing list. Everything else is, you know, Facebook is owned by someone else. Twitter, all the social media platforms are owned by other people. You know, whatever else you're looking at, there's a third party involved. With your list is your list forever, and your obviously your website you control forever. So list building, there's a technique on Facebook for building your list. Basically, again, if you're dealing with like a lookalike audience, it's most likely a group of people who want your information. They resemble customers you already have. They already be customers. But again, through the lookalike audience, you do not get their names and addresses. So this is one way to collect them. So this particular technique is we create a Facebook ad, which promotes some sort of a downloadable publication. Could be a book, could be a pamphlet, could even be a link to a video or something, but it's basically to gain access to this piece of information. You're requesting that people give you their email address to sort of register. So this is the landing page on their website. This was a campaign for a physical therapy center. The number one reason people go to physical therapy is backache. So we created a downloadable PDF that had backache exercise, that had exercises you could do at home on your own to alleviate or even prevent some back pain. So this is the landing page. You see it has the same picture, same backache picture as we did on the ad. Fill out the landing page. All we're asking for, let me go back to the landing page for a minute. Okay, all we're asking for here is name, first name, last name, and email address. We're making this as simple as possible. If they're interested, if they actually look like they might become clients, you could then collect more information on them. But initially, you don't want them to think twice. Initially, you want people to just give you their basic information and accept the download. So this is what the PDF looked like. Once they gave us their information, they downloaded this. There's the cover. There's an inside, one of the inside pages. As you could see, we demonstrate the exercise. We give them detailed instructions on how to do the exercise. So it's a very, very, very useful piece of information. And all it basically cost us was, well, it cost us the ad, obviously, but all it cost the recipient was submitting their email address. And clearly, once we start sending them emails, they can opt out anytime they want. So the cost of involvement on the side of the customer is very, very, very minimal. And yet you're gaining something that is, for you, as good as gold. Other list building strategies you may want to think about is basically you can add an email link to your social post, especially if you do blogging. You want to promote a blog and then have a link for more information. Click here. Facebook does allow you to put an actual link under the banner image that says, sign up for my email. And of course, there should always be an email form on your website. So metrics, let's talk about metrics. What's great about metrics in this particular case is you can cross-reference your email marketing reference with your social media content metrics and see what really, 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 that's 3 reallys. That's really important. What really, really, really resonates with your target audience. So on the email side, we're looking at opens and clicks. Bounces is basically somebody's there for like 2 seconds and they leave. Deliverables, and basically when people unsubscribe. Those are basically your email metrics. Social media, we all know it's likes, shares, comments, and clicks. So if you have one piece of information, you notice on the email side, it got a lot of opens and a lot of clicks. And then on the social media side, it got a lot of likes and a lot of clicks. You know, you've got a vein there of content that is really worth mining, but you've got some serious information to back that up. So to sum up, I know we've come to the end already, isn't it? All good things as it is. Anyhow, all good things. We're heading into the next normal. So basically keep your eye out for how things are changing and how you can react to those changes. Create content that's relevant to today. Give your clients useful information. Remember that they are frustrated. They may be afraid. They're bored. You know, try not to annoy them and do what you can to help them out. You want to manage all that content so as that you don't get overwhelmed. You want to manage it with some sort of a content calendar. And we talked about a drip campaign, which is a series of automated emails, lookalike audiences, which is something you can do with mostly with Facebook. And again, it's getting people who share the profile of the people already doing business with you. So, you know, they're like, you know, cousins or something. Repurpose content wherever possible. Not only between email and social, but also between social and email, between social and your website, between your website and your blog. Just keep bouncing that content around until you basically find your sweet spot. And it's also my personal opinion that not everybody sees everything. So repurposing content is just a great way to make sure that your message is reaching the maximum number of people. And finally, you should always be building your list. Do whatever you can to build your list. Again, your list is that sort of hidden gold mine we all have. And my parting words of wisdom for me is to work with a professional. There are many reasons to work with. There's a tendency, especially about entrepreneurs, to try to do everything themselves, especially now where people are looking to save money wherever possible. But if you're working with a professional, basically you're getting additional marketing experience. You get to focus on what it is you do. You're not reinventing the wheel every time you do something. And there's always the benefit of a fresh pair of eyes, even if it's just to catch a typo or two along the way. But a fresh pair of eyes is always useful. And finally, the number one reason to work with a pro is that the work will get done because, you know, promoting your business is their business. That's why they get up in the morning. They frankly don't have anything else to do. So, you know, offload that responsibility to someone who actually wants it and can deal with it. So as I say, these are questions, or if you're just curious or you just want to chat, you know, you can, here's a link to my calendar. I'd be more than happy to supply that to you. You've got this in the email that basically gave you a link to this rebroadcast. If you don't have the link, email me directly. I'll be more than happy to send it to you. There's the rest of my contact information. And I would love to hear your reaction to the webinar or any way, questions, comments, or any way I may be of service. So finally, I just want to say a few words about me and my business. First of all, I wrote a book. You can't say this says Be the CEO of You. It's sort of a humorous, food for thought kind of book about starting your own business. When I started my business many, many years ago, a lot of the entrepreneurial books were written by corporate, you know, former corporate executives who had seed money and a Rolodex full of contacts rather. And, you know, I'm in my living room with a laptop and a mild sense of desperation. So, you know, where do I go with this? So this book is for everyone else, this book. And it basically, as I said, it gets into a lot of the nitty gritty, but in a humorous way. It's not so much a how-to book as it is a food for thought book. It's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. These three websites basically constitute my business. My main corporate site is at peelofcm.com. It's a full service creative and branding agency. Again, all things digital. We do print as it supports digital. So we're sort of a full service boutique branding agency. Pillow Talks is my blog where I discuss you know, issues about media and marketing. And finally, the iGotAWebsite.com is sort of a no-nonsense website design site. It's for clients who basically just want a website, regardless of size. They're a startup that needs a landing page. They're an existing company that just needs a total redesign. They want to get into e-commerce, whatever it might be. If it's just focused on websites, please check out iGotAWebsite.com. So with that, I want to thank you for your time this morning. It's been a pleasure. It was a pleasure giving this webinar the first time. It's been double the pleasure doing it this time as a recording. I hope you found something here useful. And with that, I want to, again, thank you for your attention, and everybody have a great day. Bye-bye.